I ran. Did you think you couldn't control the tower without?
Yo. So? Ha!
Did it have to be him? The ogre widened its eyes seeing me in the air. The monster tried to use its club. But it was too late. Don't make me laugh. I would show them. I'll clear the 20th floor stage instead of Flame Emperor. And not just the 20th floor stage. The 30th too. Even the 40th. And the 50th. The 60th, 70th, 80th, and the 90th. Even the 99th floor. Until the 100th. Until I was at the top. I'll show you. Your existence is becoming clearer. I swung my sword. Hunter Kim Gongja's level is growing. The blade precisely cut the ogre's neck. Blood splattered everywhere. The leather was pretty firm, but not sharper than my sword. The monster's lifeline was thick, but not as much as my aura. The ogre whipped his arm even in the last moment. Did he feel wronged? I didn't need to feel surprised. I attacked again. Your skill slots are being increased. Now your hunter rank is D class. The ogre's neck split apart. A moment after that, the monster's body fell down. May luck be with you. Red dust flew up. Krrrrrrr. Ki, gi. G-thigh. I could see monsters. The monsters that had been running head first into the broken city walls has begun to hesitate. They were scared after seeing the large monster fall. Silence. Other than the sound of rain pouring down, it was silent. The soldiers on the city wall looked at me, and the monsters of the Devil King squirmed. It was dead silent. I was standing all alone by myself. Congratulations. Bei Hurayon grinned. It's been 30 seconds. Then, someone passed by me. I could tell who it was just by looking at their back. The strongest hunter in the tower pulled out his sword. Tens of goblins lost their necks, and tens of orcs lost their backs. And tens of streaks of blood poured down as one. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. It was only a moment, but I saw it. The blood streaming from the sky was darker than the rain. Sword Saint slowly looked back at me, turning his back towards the pools of blood he created. He opened his mouth. I didn't understand what he said. My time was still slow. Did he realize that my condition wasn't normal? He smiled, and spoke with aura this time. It was amazing. The old man lifted his sword. It rained. The rain was red, so after the water poured down, the sword was red as well. My name is Marcus Callenberry. Youngster. I realized that he was trying to be polite. I closed my mouth. This was the second time a rank 1 hunter told me his name. The first time was when I was on the first floor. The Flame Emperor tilted my head back and whispered. My name is...
Yo. So? Ha!
Farewell. I died that day. I heard a name for the second time today. They were different names and different people. Suddenly, it occurred to me that I was different as well. And I was able to do something that I wasn't able to do the first time. My name is Kim Gongja. Sir. Today. I spoke my name. The rain poured. The fire burned everything in its way, and the rain had to fall from the sky. The rain poured. There was an old man standing in the middle of it. He nodded his head at me. Let's fight together, youngster. The rank 1 hunter. Sword Saint. Grand Master of Knights of the Ejim Empire. Alliance. The rain poured. Sorry I'm late. With the sound of puddles being splashing, laughter approached us. I could have come faster. I guess it's not easy to lead a legion. The speaker had one arm. It was a road where everything was damaged. The one-armed man stood firm. Thank you. Hunter Kim Gongja. The heretic questioner fixed his cap with the hand he had. The rain poured. Far away from behind the heretic questioner, something crowded over to us. We'll take over the time that you got for us. Thousands of soldiers. The soldiers of the empire were jumping over holes past the puddles. No, there were even those who weren't soldiers. They were citizens who didn't have any armor. It's the order of the Supreme General. Everyone. The heretic questioner smiled. Thousands of soldiers and 10,000s of citizens shouted. Defeat the bastards who bared their teeth at the empire. The rank 4 hunter. 10,000 temple master, heretic questioner. The supreme general of the empire. Hoo-hoo. The rain poured. The monsters who had been coming like hail, stopped. They hesitated. The tables were turned. Water started to flow backwards from where the city walls were broken. The God is with us. The rain poured. Hurrah for the Ejim Empire. The rain poured. I couldn't know when I had started to flow with the water. It was probably because of my aura. I was running as a small drop in the water. Refugees from other countries raised their spears from my left. Farmers from the empire raised their rakes to my right. When I looked back, hunters like me were running. A hunter I saw raised their sword. They were continuing to say something, but I didn't understand them. Was it because of the rain? Or the people shouting? Oh, was it the screams of the monsters? Because time slowed down? Was it because I became a small drop of water flowing with them? Or was it because I was swinging my sword? Forward. Even more forward. Until water covered everywhere the fire was. Just a bit more forward. Hey! Something touched my shoulder. It pierced through the 10,000s of voices and said something to me. It was one-eyed. Good job. I should have come earlier. I was late because I was bringing out guild members. But don't worry. We'll show you why we're called Chenmumun from now on. Pause. It stopped speaking. Why? It stopped, and looked into my eyes with its one eye instead. You're not listening. Are you immersed? Nice. I like it. It laughed. Hey, my name is Liao Fan. You can't hear, but it doesn't matter, you saved my life in the reception room later. I can't forget about a debt as the master of Chenmumun, right? Just run with your eyes forward. I'll take the left. This is a huge benefit. It raised its sword. No one who stood on my right ever died. The rain poured. Go. Holy technique. I swung my sword. I'll protect you. The water became even more violent. It flowed violently. Sorry I'm late. I was busy looking for the emperor. I found him, but he had already committed suicide. It'll be hard to use his authority. Sorry. It's fine. We don't need to gather any more people. Miss Crusader, you should fight too. Of course. Why is Kim Gongja Hunter? Don't bother him. The rain poured. That guy is having the time of his life. The rain poured. Pitiful things. Even if time is given, did you think it was for you? Even the power of the goddess protecting you is gone. There is no god in the empire anymore. What did you expect? Will you prove yourselves? Fine. Laughter came with the rain. Look. A red light. However, there were things blocking me. And there were a lot. Hey, witch. Get rid of them quickly. I know. I won't let them go twice. Geezer. You and I should cut them when the witch scatters them. I can do it by myself. They're starting to come, everyone. The rain poured. Scatter. 6 rays of light shined. It was the light of mirrors. The red light slid against the mirror. The first, second, and third mirror broke. But the fourth mirror continued to reflect the red light. Sword Saint. Venomous snake. Something shouted. Hup. There was the sound of intaking breath.
Yeah.
And the sound of it being exhaled. The sky split. Even the red light split. It was like the ocean was being split into half. 5 different voices chattered on. Look. Look. I've still got a while before I die. You're continuing to blabber on. This is the time. And a voice whispered amongst them. I'll transport you next to the Devil King. Everyone get around me. Quickly. If the Devil King summons monsters again, we'll be back at the starting point. 5 voices overlapped. They gathered into one place. And Kim Gongja. Someone extended their hand. Rain was dripping down their face. Hold on. Hurry, there's no time. At that moment, the time that seemed like forever was released. I could see the people around me. I could hear the sounds around me. That wasn't all. Memories of where I was and how I got here flooded inside my head. It was the middle of the battlefield. The soldiers and citizens were pushing away the monsters. Hunters endlessly poured from the broken city walls. Kim Gongja Hunter. We were at the very front. From here to the Devil King, it was empty. The monsters would come soon, but not now. Hurry. It was a bit ironic. The heretic questioner was on Venomous Snake's back. Venomous Snake was holding Sword Saint's arm. Sword Saint had his hand on Crusader's shoulder. Crusader was holding the witch's hand. It would be awesome if I took a picture of this and put it online. While I was thinking those thoughts, the witch shouted. Hurry! If you don't grab on, we're leaving you here. The witch was extending her hand towards me.
Ah.
And I realized. This scene would be gone soon. Even the argument Sword Saint and I had. How the Sword Saint pulled back his sword. And how he bowed his head towards me, apologizing. How heretic questioner had killed those innocent hunters. Them fighting each other. It'll all disappear. Everything. Like the rain that was pouring. Those people won't remember. However. What are you doing? Partner. That was okay. You have to go get the monsters, kid. It wouldn't disappear just because it wasn't remembered. I had a sword. This place had someone who died on the 1st floor. There was a ghost who died on the 99th floor. No one knew about their deaths. But us two were still here. Okay. If we returned, nothing would be solved. Sword Saint would doubt me, and the hunters would suspect each other when it became time to choose rewards. Let's go. But I was a bit stronger. I wouldn't let innocent people die. I wouldn't watch by while the count died and our connection with the outside was cut off. Now I even somewhat knew who the betrayer was. I was sure I would do better. Good. The witch tightly held my hand. Teleport. The next moment, we jumped down from mid-air. The 5 of us landed at the same time. In front of us, the Devil King was standing with his sword. Amusing. The Devil King was a sword. He was like a shadow in the form of a human. Warriors of the goddess, I see. He had a face but no expression. He had arms, but no hands. He had legs, but no feet, and it seemed like he would fall over any moment. No. He was actually falling. The Devil King's body continued to flow down. The owner of nightmares. The moving shadow. Warriors. Did you know there's a betrayer among you? You know, but you're still trying to trust with each other. Was there any reason to listen more? As far as I could see, there was none. I ran with my one sword. Kim Gongja. I heard a surprised voice behind me. No. Wait. You can't go by yourself. Everyone has to work together to dash. Sorry. I'll see you in my next life. Although you won't remember today. Oh ho. The Devil King smiled at me running alone at him. How foolish. It was a strange smile. There weren't any eyes or mouth on his face, so it seemed like he was flowing from his skin. Did you come to kill me, warrior? He swung his sword. It was something I never would have been able to block. Before the sword arrived at my neck. No. I didn't pretend to block the attack. It was unnecessary. Instead, I politely raised my middle finger. I came to be killed. You son of a bitch. I'll see you in my next life too. It was short, but I definitely saw the Devil King's smile harden. Soon, I didn't hear anything. My consciousness faded away. All my senses were paused. I only felt the rain on my face until the last moment. Then. You have died. The Devil King of Fall Rain skills are being randomly copied. All right. Skill cards are being created. It was time for round 2.
Yeah.
I was back. I now referred to being back to this place. The Devil King of Fall Rain skills are being randomly copied. My prison. An abyss of consciousness. People called me a loser. I was. And this was the place that gave me a chance. When I was burning up by the fire of the Flame Emperor, I didn't miss the last chance the tower gave me. Why? The skill cards are being created. Why did the tower give me such a skill? It was the same question as why was it given to a psychopath like?
Yo. So. Ha!
Why? Why was it presented to a good-for-nothing person who surfed the internet like me? I saw the skills. Bei Hurayong spoke. Do you want me to read them now? Yes, please. Okay. Listening to Bei Hurayong speak, it occurred to me that the tower might have been regretful. Because they were disappointed in the attitude of the hunters. Hate flows like rain. Rank S. Effects, you don't look. You can't see. People consider what they can't see as not there. Blind fools. Right. Ignorant. Then, show them. Show them how many lives have been lost due to ignorance. As much as blood has been spilled in this world, the sky will pour down red rain. However, only the blood you have seen will become rain. The Flame Emperor.
Yo. So. Ha!
Had definitely cleared through the 10th floor stage. Not in a good way. He had probably ignored the despair and hate of the dolls and just cleared through them. Wouldn't the tower have considered that a shame? Wouldn't it have been disappointed? What's the next skill? This. Bei Hurayong spoke. The heart cries echoing. Rank. Effects. Your emotions will strengthen your aura. The stronger your emotions, the more your aura will react. Revenge. Detestation. Sadness. It can be whatever emotion. The fire will burn regardless of the firewood. However, you slowly become addicted to that emotion. Right. The tower definitely would have been disappointed. All floors have a hidden quest. Like there had been a quest to comfort the dolls in the Hellfire residence. Perhaps, there could be a hidden quest on the 12th floor as well. I focused on Bei Hurayong's words. 100 ghosts summon. Rank, SS. Effects, what you killed will be summoned as monsters. The dead cannot use their abilities from when they were living. They can't remember it either. They'll be summoned as goblins, orcs, zombies, skeletons, etc. However, you can only summon them once a week. Other than this, there were a lot of skills. But these 3 stood out to me the most. Nice. I nodded my head. I decided what skill to use, and how to clear the 20th floor. I'll go with this. Huh? Was my choice unexpected? Bei Hurayong tilted his head. You're going with that? I don't know. No. This will be the best, until the 20th floor at least. I don't know, well. Do whatever you want. I don't know what you're thinking. You're probably just playing tricks again. Look forward to it. I paused while stretching out for the card. Sword Emperor. You know well about the Sword Saint's daily schedule, right? Huh? I do. Grandpop's Marcus schedule is already determined from when he wakes up at dawn and goes to sleep. He's a total grandpa. Tell me his evening schedule. I have somewhere to use it. All right, I guess. I grabbed the card. A voice rang in the dark. Selection complete. The skill is being copied. You are regressing to 24 hours before. And like that, I returned back to a day. Your current hunter class is D class. There is a penalty from your skill. The trauma of the enemy who killed you is being reenacted. Of course there was a penalty. I ended up seeing the trauma of the Devil King of Fall Rain, but I needed to solve the problem of the 12th floor right now. The extremity of the penalty is mid-level. The penalty is Hungry Ghost Road. Let's talk about the penalty later. 2. Bei Hurayong taught me the importance of a second. That it was hard for most people to properly live out a second. I deeply felt that this time. Leaving already? In the cafe. The witch looked up at me from the chair. It wasn't just the witch. All the ladders of the large clans looked up at me with various expressions. Even the count, who had died from the Devil King's attack on the 12th floor, was faintly smiling at me. I had returned to the cafe on the 1st floor, where I made a deal with the guild masters. A day. I realized how long 24 hours was. It was vertiginous. We had begun a new age, cleared the 11th floor, and fought against the Devil King on the 12th floor in a day. But holy cow! It had all happened in less than a day. Yes. The 11th floor will open in a bit. I was a bit choked up. I lightly coughed and spoke. I have to start preparing now if I don't want to fall behind. How are you going to prepare when you don't know what the 11th floor is like? There wasn't any problem on the 11th floor. It started from the 12th floor, when the Devil King began to interfere. There, you guys will split up. Someone will betray you, and someone will fall apart from that betrayal. There's even someone who dies. Kim Gongja? The witch furrowed her eyebrows. Are you all right? Your face turned strange. Are you feeling okay? I'm all right. It was just a bit touching to be here with amazing people who lead guilds. I casually answered her. Bei Hurayong silently watched me. Anyways, yes. You're right. Everyone. I know what the 11th floor is like. Not only that, I know what the quest is. The look in their eyes changed. Information was as important as someone's life. I had basically said, I know something about your life at stake. It was understandable they would pale. I was given the information as a reward for clearing the 10th floor. And the reason why I'm saying that now. The witch opened her mouth to speak. Can we take it that you're going to share it with us? Of course. I lifted my forefinger. However, there's a condition. Go ahead. We'll gladly listen to it. Please do me a favor when I ask for it sometime. I looked at each of the hunters sitting around the table. They all looked like they were deep in thought. A favor. It was something easy, but also hard. What kind of favor is it? I can't tell you right now. However, I can assure you that it won't put your life in danger. It's not about money either. I won't ask for you to take someone's life. If you think this is impossible, just refuse me then. Heretic questioner stroked his chin. With the right hand that was cut off by the sword saint last time. Sounds fine to me. To be honest, I really like that condition. Ahaha. There is almost nothing that can take you by surprise as you have information about it beforehand. I agree. If we can refuse, I also agree. The heretic questioner and the count approved. When the other hunters all finished organizing their thoughts, they promised that they would accept my condition. Nice. One thing done. Then I'll say it now. From the 11th floor to the 20th floor, it takes place in a world called the Ejim Empire. It's receiving the attack of the Devil King, and the 11th floor is. My voice quietly echoed in the cafe. The guild masters all started to murmur after hearing what I said. It was a tutorial up to the 10th floor. And we'll be thrown into a large-scale fight from the 11th floor. It's priceless information, I see. Yup. The fight will also be different now. I should give this information to our guild members. Phew. But our Sangreon kids aren't talented at all in fighting, and the hunters shared their opinions. I nodded my head. The 11th floor will be clear more easily with this information now. It was already changing. A lot of things had changed since the beginning of this regression. But it still wasn't enough. Then I'll take my leave now. Crusader. The Crusader turned her head. She was sipping her third Americano now with a straw. Why did you call for me? You're the Vice Guild Master of the Civil Militia. Would you like to walk with me? I have something to discuss with you. The Crusader looked around and shrugged her shoulders. Well, I was planning on getting up soon anyway. As long as it doesn't take too long. It won't take that long. 30 minutes is enough. Then fine with me. The Crusader put her coffee cup down. I'll accept the date request. 3. In the city bustling with people, hunters talked about the 10th floor and benches next to the fountains, outdoor restaurants, and in markets. Seeing as how there hasn't been any announcement, it was cleared by a nameless newbie. No way. The higher guilds are controlling it. Seriously, who did it? I want to clear a stage too. To those whose tomorrow was cancelled, the subjugation of the 10th floor had just happened. It felt like I alone was walking in deleted time. Hey, zombie. Well, to be exact, I wasn't alone. He's following us. Since I had Bei Hurayong. Are you sure? Definitely. And don't look back. To safely clear the 12th floor, 2 things were needed. One was the alliance with the leaders of the large guilds. And the other was for Sword Saint to not be hostile towards me. It'll be too late to do it on the 12th floor. I had felt it this time. It has to be solved before climbing the tower. The relationship between Sword Saint and the guild masters was horrible. If betrayal was added on top of this, we would be taking the shortcut to destruction. Dang, I can hardly tell. Look at his stalking skills. You probably won't be able to tell even if you turned back. He has a skill related to this. I got it, so please just check if it's following us. I was baiting the Sword Saint right now. I had heard about the Sword Saint's schedule from Bei Hurayong already, and purposely got noticed by him. After he saw me walk by the outdoor restaurant where he normally ate, he began to follow me. Of course. Kim Gongja. Where are we going? The crusader next to me wouldn't now. There's only dark and creepy neighborhoods if we go this way. There's a shop I want to recommend to you. Shop? Yes. It's a shop that a nameless pharmacist runs. It's amazing. If her name was known, it would get famous right now. But it's not working out. If you think it's good, please help with their sales. The crusader looked at my face. I knew what she was doing. She activated her lie detection skill. The crusader opened her mouth. Is what you said true? Yes. Of course. Why would I lie to you? I really was going to introduce her to the store, so it wasn't a lie. Are you planning something suspicious? I'm trying to receive help from you. Even if something happens, my life will be in danger, not yours. Trust me. She slowly nodded her head. It was all probably registered as the truth. Sorry. She smiled. I hear that I'm really doubtful of things quite a lot. Let's continue. Nice. Pass. We passed the street and arrived at the pharmacist's store. She was moving something that seemed quite heavy. At first, she tilted her head looking at us approach her, then she smiled brightly when she saw my face. Sir. Are you open now, store owner Nim? Ahaha. It's closed, but always open for you. You're my first regular. Hup. She put down what she was carrying. She had looked pretty dirty just a few days ago, but she was completely neat now. She gave off the impression of a store owner now. Phew. Sorry. This is. She's the hunter that's working as the vice guild master of the civil militia. You've heard of her, right? Her name is Crusader. Pardon? Her eyes shook beyond her glasses. The vice guild master of the civil militia? Yup. She's so high up. This was the normal reaction for hunters. Why is such a person at this lowly ship? Gasp. Drugs? Is this to crack down on drugs? I didn't make any. I'm working in a place like this, But I didn't touch drugs at the very least. No, I didn't make even a gram of anything bad. I lived conscientiously. And I'll continue to do so. So please don't investigate. She bent over flat on the ground. This wasn't a normal reaction. The crusader had an awkward face. Since the lie detection had probably said that it was all true. She seemed to be considering whether she should think of the pharmacist in front of her as a psycho or a conscious businesswoman. Here. Store owner Nim. Don't worry. Tap tap. I patted her shoulder. I didn't come here to tattle to the crusader. You're such a nice person. Then. Sales aren't equal to the quality of your work. So I wanted to introduce it to the Vice Guild Master here. The pharmacist lifted her head and dropped her mouth open. Introduce. Exactly what it means. Try giving the crusader different potions to test out. Who knows? She might make a contract with you if she likes it. Wouldn't it be easier for you if the civil militia uses your potions? The pharmacist blinked. It seemed to take her a while to understand. A moment later, she grabbed my hand. Angel Nim. I wasn't an Angel Nim but Gong Nim. You helped me when my store was almost sold away, ordered a huge stock, and… Now you're even helping my sales. You're an angel, how can I repay this? And when the future Lord of Alchemy Castle's eyes were shining, someone stepped into the quiet street. The footsteps were pretty heavy, so the three of us all turned our heads to look. There. The owner of the footsteps was wearing black formal attire. Could everyone else except for that guy step aside? And he glared at me coldly. Sword Saint. He was the old man of this regression that didn't believe me yet. His low voice rang in the alley. I want to speak with that person alone. Fine by me. It was time to clear the second condition. Sword Saint. The crusader frowned her forehead. What are you doing here? She probably didn't expect to meet him in this small alley. It was an unexpected place and person. It didn't seem to be a coincidence. A young lady is already having problems with hearing. The old man was exuding a murderous intent towards me. I'm sure I said to move. I have something to do with the guy over there. Are you saying that you want to speak alone with the Kim Gongja hunter? I'm not interested in his name. The atmosphere of the alley changed. The crusader didn't frown anymore. She was expressionlessly glared at the Sword Saint. Her guard was definitely up. Move. Sword Saint spoke. I already said to move 3 times. What doesn't make sense 3 times wouldn't make sense even after 30 times. Sword Saint. Did you lose your sense with your age? The crusader grabbed her sword. Kim Gongja Hunter already joined the 5 guilds, along with the civil militia. I don't know what you're thinking, but don't think that the civil militia will stay still.
Ha!
The Sword Saint snorted. I knew it. The guilds were all working together. I knew it. Working together. I don't know what you're trying to say. The atmosphere became worse as time passed. Sword Saint. I know because it was already reported that you hunt humans. Of course, if it's something according to your morals, I won't say much. But it's different if you're planning to do that right in front of me. Different? I'll stop it with my life. Are you confident you can do that? No. The crusader looked at the Sword Saint expressionlessly. I'm going to fight with all my strength and die. And the moment I die, you'll be someone who killed an innocent player. Sword Saint. If you want to live the rest of your life as a murderer, be my guest. The life that you don't have long to live. I'll show you. The sword saint's old face crumpled. It was already evening. The sun set quickly in the alley. I could feel people walking here and there along the alley, but no one was here except for us. It was silent.
Yeah.
I brought the Crusader here to make this kind of silence. Sword Saint is weak to innocent people. And Crusader was probably the only innocent people of the large guilds. When the Sword Saint tried to kill me in the last regression, the Crusader got in between Sword Saint and me. MS, Crusader. You're the only person here who hasn't hurt anyone. Fine. I'll trust you. It was what he said in passing. That meant the kill count of the Crusader is 0. Even the Sword Saint had violent morals, no. Because he had those standards, the Crusader would seem like an even better person. The Sword Saint won't ever be able to hurt Crusader. To evil people, he was a murderer, but to good people, he was a harmless old man. And it's not just the Crusader. Someone walked next to us. It was the pharmacist. At the appearance of the Sword Saint and Crusader, she was hesitating, and she spread her arms out. Excuse me. The pharmacist spoke. Even her chin was trembling, probably because she was so nervous. She bit her lips several times and finally managed to speak. I don't know what it's about, but the customer here. He's my savior. The future Lord of Alchemy spoke as fiercely as she could. It's not like there's laws in Babylon like the outside world, but protecting a customer is obvious, and even though you're the Sword Saint, I can't forgive you if you touch a customer here. A few days ago gangsters made a mess and I was in trouble. Sorry, but please leave from here. The pharmacist shouted. If she went against the Sword Saint, she would have died in a second. But he was still weak to her. It was for the same reason. Saintess. Crusader. Lord of Alchemy Castle. These 3 hunters were famous for being kind. Even when the Flame Emperor was in the slums, the Lord of Alchemy Castle arrived first. Kind people. They were always on the short side, and received more stress than other people. But the only people who could stop Sword Saint were kind people like them. What are you going to do? The Crusader spoke. If you want to make a mess, go ahead. The Sword Saint hesitated. If I was right, the result was already decided. And I was right. Not too long after, the old sword user pulled his sword back. Today's not the day. The Sword Saint took his murderous aura back. Even when he was walking back, he was glaring at me. I hope we don't meet again. If he didn't have anything to do with you, his head would be on the floor. Good. Stage 2 clear. With this, the Sword Saint wouldn't swing his sword at me any time. Even if he killed me, I would have the opportunity to speak. Sword Saint. Before the old man completely turned away, I shouted. I'll be waiting in the empty field tomorrow morning. You can come if you want to. I'll be waiting. Really? If you want to know what kind of human I am, come tomorrow morning. The old man turned his head around to glare at me. He examined my face with his blue eyes. But that was it. Without any particular response, he headed back out of the alley. Once his heavy footsteps couldn't be heard anymore, the Crusader sighed. Phew. That was close. To meet a murderer tonight. Murderer. Is the Sword Saint famous for being a murderer? Not famous. But the 5 guild masters know well. The Crusader shook her head. I heard he lost his daughter to a murderer outside of the tower. Because of that, the Sword Saint doesn't let go of murderers. He's ridiculously tough. Well, we didn't have any evidence, so we were just watching, And this is obviously a secret. Bei Hurayong got in front of me.
Yeah.
Grandpops Marcus told me that once before. His daughter and son-in-law were killed by a serial killer. His grandchildren barely survived. Why are you saying that now? Huh? What are you talking about? You didn't ask. Bei Hurayong spoke shamelessly.
Yeah.
He was always like this. Well. It's not like I don't understand the Sword Saint. The Crusader looked around bitterly. In the empathy alley, the evening set cast shadows of the buildings. Working at the civil militia, you met murderers. Sometimes, there's times when you think that it was okay for them to kill, even I'm tempted sometimes as well. The Crusader mumbled. All the guild masters have a behind story. Kim Gongja. Since you're with us not, you'll see that there are disgusting bits about us. How you'll react, She shook her head. Was it because she thought she said too many things to an outsider? We got off subject. She intentionally spoke in a brighter voice. So, how much is the potion here? The civil militia is also not funded well, so it's a bit tricky if it's too expensive, but... 4. The next day. I looked at my phone by myself in the empty field. There was really not a single soul here. It was obvious. The hunters of Babylon were all in the square having a festival. It was similar to the last regression. But there's something that's different. I looked at the news popping up on my phone. Breaking, 11th floor, guild attack? Black Dragon gathering all their members. Guilds creating teams to clear. Heretic questioner interview. You have to have a team for the 11th floor. Source of the information is a puzzle. That was right. The world had changed a little. Because of me. And it was going to change again. Sword Saint walked in from the other side. The sky behind him looked extra blue. People were shouting from the direction of the city. 1 minute and 31 seconds. The clock of light was floating up in the air. A blue sky, people's voices, and clock of light. Sword Saint was walking towards me with all that behind him. You're really alone. Sword Saint stopped. Is this the confidence to be able to stand against me by yourself? Well, I guess if you're a murderer that did all that, you would be confident. His eyes when he was looking at me felt completely new. It was completely different to last time. It was because there was acknowledgement and respect in his life last time. But right now, there was none of that. Enmity. Hostility. It was like he was looking at a murderer. Zombie? Are you all right? I nodded inwardly. I'm good. I was just a bit hurt. Sword Saint. I folded my thoughts. I have something I want to say to you. Go ahead. If it's your will, I'll listen to it. I know why you're being like this. The Sword Saint lifted a corner of his mouth. I see. You know your own fault. It's because of the skill you have. The Sword Saint's face hardened. How do you? Please believe what I'm going to say. I thought of how hard it was to get someone's trust as I said that. Everyone had their stubbornness. For the Sword Saint, it was his detective's insight, skill. The skill that showed someone's kill count. The Sword Saint looked down at you if his skill said so. That was why it was his stubbornness. He lived according to that stubbornness. The moment he threw away that stubbornness, he would throw away his lifestyle. You have to convince people like that. And I had to make him trust me. I needed to make him ignore the lifestyle that he lived until now. Thinking about it now, I realized how hard it was. But I can do it. I clenched my fist. I can just put my life on the line as well. I opened my mouth. Sword Saint Nim. I'm a prophet. What? I have a skill that's similar to prophesying things. That's how I know you have that skill. If I stay like this, you'll kill me, and I'll ask why you had to kill me. Then, you said that you have a skill called Detective's Insight, and there's a number called 4093 above my head. It was a small lie. But I needed to convince him even by lying. Midnight. The clock in the sky was turning to 0. Fireworks exploded. I could hear cheers. The old man and me. We just looked at each other. After a silence, the Sword Saint spoke. Guess. What? I'm hiding my left hand behind my back. And I have my fingers held. Tell me how many fingers I'm holding up. Okay. So that's how he was coming out. I expected this. If you can't guess, I'll know that you're LY. The Sword Saint was probably getting ready to attack. But he didn't expect something like this. Before the Sword Saint could speak, I got out a dagger. Without any hesitation, I cut my throat. What? The Sword Saint's eyes widened. He had only attacked others his entire life. He wouldn't have expected that I would cut my neck. Because of that 1 second, I was able to kill myself. And you have died. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. 1 second was enough for me. Again, I started my day. I went down from the 10th floor stage and met the large guild members. The Crusader and I walked into the alley. We met the Sword Saint. Midnight. And time was in this moment again. Guess. It was the same test as my last regression. But my reaction wasn't the same as last time. Instead, I spoke like I had expected it before. You're trying to hide your self-hand behind your back again. You're trying to ask me how many fingers you're lifting up. It's easy to kill me here. But you can't clear the 12th floor stage like this. A lot of people will lose their lives. Wait. The Sword Saint spoke. This isn't enough. You could have another skill. Fine. Once wasn't enough. I had already expected this. You have died. You are being regressed to 24 hours ago. Of course it wouldn't be easy to convince someone. That's not enough evidence. It could be. You're thinking it could be another skill like clairvoyance or something else. But it was okay. If he wanted to test me, he could continue to do so. You have died. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. He could suspect me as much as he wanted. You have died. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. It didn't matter if it took a week or a month. You have died. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. I was confident I could convince him. My death is longer than your life. Then, the Sword Saint closed his mouth. All his suspicions had been answered. I spoke calmly. Sword Saint Nim. Please trust me. You can't kill me here. Countless innocent people will die on the 12th floor stage. Really? I'm not telling you I'm innocent, and I'm not telling you to save me forever. Then? 5 days. I lifted my fingers. Please don't just kill me for the next few days. Following me, you can judge with your own 2 eyes if I deserve to die. The sword saint was silent. I knew that he was hesitating. The last final blow was needed. And I knew what the last blow was. You still don't believe me. You say something to me in the future. You know that I'm really a prophet if I say this. What's that? I answered. Sword Emperor. The old man's eyes widened. I continued to speak, regardless. I don't know who that is, but you said you would believe me if I said that. It was silent. Cheers were still coming from the city far away. I could even see the image of the goddess descending. When the goddess slowly began to fade away, the old sword saint spoke. 5 days. Youngster. Yes. Fine. The sword saint looked into my eyes. I'm going to follow you for 5 days. I'll be observing you say and do without missing anything. After that, I'll decide whether you're a prophet or not. Is this good? Very. Yes. Good. That's enough. I bowed my head. Thank you, truly. All the conditions were cleared. First, getting the promise from the guild masters. Second, stopping the sword saint from killing me right away. Third, having the sword saint trust me for a while. Finally. Now, finally, even if we climbed up to the 12th floor, the sword saint and the guild masters wouldn't clash. Nor would the innocent hunters die. Then, sword saint. See you on the next stage. I barely managed to speak through my tight throat. The sword saint was looking at me strangely, but I couldn't worry about that right now. I had to do what I had to do. Transmit. White light surrounded me. Feeling my heart beat faster, I thought to myself. Now all that's left is to hunt the Devil King. The world changed. Wait. Devil King. And it was going to change a bit more. The white light settled down. When I opened my eyes, I was already in the middle of the battlefield. I confidently walked in at the familiar scene. Krrrr, Kiek. Monsters were crying out and soldiers were getting injured while fighting them. Thousands of monsters ran to destroy the port. The 11th floor. The first battle to protect the Ejim Empire had begun. Thank you. I see you've come to help us, warriors. The general NPC who greeted us was the same as the last regression. He wore the same armor, had the same expression, and said the same lines. Warriors. Please save our empire and... But it was only up to there. That was the end of the similarities. At the general's words, the way the hunters reacted was different. Gather, Black Dragon. A cold voice pierced through the battlefield. It was the owner of Black Dragon, the witch. Just like in the battle that only I remembered, the witch shouted after gathering her aura. She had something about her that pulled people's gazes. Black Dragon will take the directing right in this war from now. The witch looked at the battlefield. Chen Mu Mun. Civil militia. Do whatever you need to at the left. 10,000 Temple and Sangrian take the right. Black Dragon will take the center. If anyone has any complaints, let me know after the battle. If you have time to complain right now, get another orc instead. The world changed. Oh. The shouts of the hunters was proof of that. The large guilds moved about in a hurry. Was it because I shared information that this was a team subjugation? There wasn't any hunter who stood around blankly. Kiddos, follow me. If someone dies before me, I'll kill you. Even the Chen Mu Mun that the venomous snake was leading. What are you? Never mind. Everyone, back Chen Mu Mun up. We have to help those idiots when they start taking it overboard again. Even the civil militia, led by the Crusader, acting individually immediately gets you a death sentence. Everyone. Move as a team. Even the 10,000 temple, led by the heretic questioner. Everyone's so passionate. Let's take it slowly. And Sangrian, led by the count. There wasn't a single blind spot amongst the guilds. Everyone focused on what they had to do. Hunters specialized for battles swung their swords, and hunters who specialized in support casted magic from behind. Like a tsunami, hunters were pushing the monster army behind.
Oh.
The general NPC exclaimed in astonishment. Was he touched looking at the view in front of him? Clearly the god hasn't abandoned us. Look! The warriors from the other world are pushing back the monsters. Soldiers of the Empire. We should also fight back. Soldiers, follow me. The leaders of the squadrons all shouted and ran. I stepped aside and watched them.
Yeah.
What people needed was just a little bit of relief. Even if I just changed a little, if I moved secretly just a bit, the scene of the stage changed like this. Just then, Beihurayung spoke in a low voice. Zombie. Are you all right? What? You'll stand out less this way. Beihurayung was frowning. There's no one who likes to stand out more than you. You go crazy for attention. Isn't the attention going your way going to decrease like this? Well, I guess. I shrugged my shoulders. But this isn't too bad either. Ho ho. I guess you grew a bit. What do you mean, grow? I'm still gonna take what I can get. Then, I felt a gaze on my back. When I turned around, I saw the old sword saint looking at me. Dot. I was a bit flustered. What are you doing there, sir? I was watching you. The sword saint spoke like it was obvious. You said so earlier. To decide if I should kill you or not in 5 days. That's why I'm watching you. You're not really planning on watching me 24/7 for 5 days, right? What a strange question. Of course I am. Goodness. What the heck? Was he a stalker? Wait, you have to get monsters too. The next stage's rewards will be given based on the level of contribution. Sword Saint lightly swung his sword. Blue aura clawed around the entire battlefield. About 20 goblins screamed and their heads fell off. Blood bloomed everywhere. The Sword Saint turned back to me. Don't worry, I'm planning on using my sword occasionally as well. Do whatever you have to do. As expected, he was super experienced. His level was completely different. Ahoo. This. I shook my head and headed towards the Witch of the Black Dragon. Their guild's members stopped me, but paused when they saw Sword Saint following me. When the witch realized that we were approaching her, she waved her hand and cleared our path. What's wrong? Hunter Kim Gongja. And even the grandpops. She threw a fit with her forehead wrinkled. I'm busy directing our guild members. I don't have the time. If you could say what you need to in 30 seconds, I'd be grateful. I don't really have any business with you. The old man spoke casually. I just followed this youngster. What? What the heck does that? Never mind. Not interested. I don't have time to be focused on you right now. This is a request, so if it's not important, please leave. Hey, you. Team 4. Even while rebuking the Sword Saint, she busily gave orders to her guild members. Stop going forward stupidly and stay there. If you don't want a spear to land in your ass, stay there. What's Team 12 doing? Do you think we're here for a walk? Hunt properly. Sorry. Black Dragon Master. If you have time to be sorry, use your sword in that time instead. She really did look busy. I quickly got to the point. Black Dragon Master. I have the reward for clearing the 10th floor. Of course you do. So what? This mini-map is the reward. I can see the entire battlefield with this map. And allies and enemies are marked. I can even see where the enemy's forces are. Then the witch turned her head to look me right in the eye. Really? Why would I lie? It's real. Then why didn't you tell me sooner? She grabbed my right hand. Speak. Where is the boss monster? I guess this person showed her real self when she was super busy. There. I pointed in the direction that the mini-map marked. It's surrounded by monsters but they're dash. Say that you agree to the use of my skill. Quick.
Uh.
I agree with the use of Black Dragon Master's skill. Teleport. The next moment, the witch and I were floating in mid-air. To be exact, we were falling. In the middle of the battlefield, monsters and humans were busily fighting. The witch's black hair flew in the air as she shouted. Where? There. I shouted because of the sound of the wind. Where I'm pointing dash. Teleport. Every time the witch shouted for her teleport skill, we rapidly became closer to where the boss monster was. I hugged the witch tighter in the air. It didn't mean much. I just thought that if only our hands were touching I'd immediately fall from the sky. Like she understood, she didn't object. And she shouted with her eyes narrowed. Are you confident in using your sword? Enough to skill the boss monster here. Then I'll send you on top of the boss monster. So in one. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I knew well what she was saying. Teleport. When the last teleportation was finished, we flew right above the boss monster. There was about 10 meters left to go. Around the boss monsters, goblins were shouted annoyingly. It was hard to believe that was how they directed their monster army. Kim Gongja.
Yeah.
I covered my body with aura and shochud. Did they hear us? The head goblin that was directing the monsters tilted his head to look up. Korak? The head goblin and I made eye contact. But it was already too late. My blade landed right on top of the head goblin's head. His body was split into two. He was a boss monster, but he couldn't even fight back. He just looked at me until the very end like he felt wronged. Well, I guess since he had been skilled by me twice, he would feel wronged. Kerk. Krrr. The monsters who had suddenly lost their leaders looked at me blankly. It seemed like they couldn't understand what had happened because it had happened so fast. I grinned at them. What? Stepping on the body of the head goblin. You want to be cut into half too? The monsters belatedly screamed. Krrrrrk. Krrrr. Unimportant little things like goblins and orcs quickly scattered. When one ran away, the other quickly began to run away, and soon, 30 of them were running away. They began running away like they were dominoes falling apart. Let's go. Next to me, the witch clenched her small fists. Good job, Kim Gongja. Goodness. It seems like we'll be able to clear the stage in less than an hour. Less than 50 hunters will probably have died. Maybe even 30. It can't get better than this. It was the first time I saw the witch so excited. Was the reason why she was so expressionless in the last chat because a lot of hunters had died at the beginning because they didn't know what to do? And she was happy because the damage was less this time? She's unexpectedly quite simple. Someone who was sad or happy based on the number of sacrifices. I smiled. Now, you're too excited right now. Calm down a bit. You have to be excited when you're feeling excited. I'll compliment you again. Good job, Kim Gongja. There's never been a case when the sacrifices to clear a stage have been this low. You can brag about this all you want. The witch smiled fancily. It wasn't just lifting the corners of her mouth, but she was genuinely smiling. You might have wanted to take the clear reward for yourself. It's really a relief that the new hero is someone like you. I'm so relieved. All the media in the tower will be fighting to get to you, so get ready. She was purely happy.
Yeah.
The witch held out her hand to shake. That's it. Grabbing her hand, I thought to myself. Getting attention from normal people, getting it from a lot of people is indeed nice. It feels great. Being envied by people and treated like you're the best. It feels damningly good. However, not as good as being acknowledged by these people. People who had lived with rigor. Those who could be able to confidently say that they did their best. Like the sword saint, who got to the top with just one sword. The witch, who created the largest force in the tower. And countless other people, who had put everything into this. I tightly held the witch's hand. I want to live being acknowledged by these people. And it wasn't just that. I want to protect these people. So they couldn't be played by the Devil King. For the people who had lived so busily, not even cursing or teasing anyone like the Flame Emperor. Or laughed at others, making them feel small. I just wanted to be acknowledged by them. No. I wanted to be respected by them. Even if it might be impossible. I want to live like that. In the slightly changed world, I also wanted to change. And that was my deepest desire. Who? Bei Huraion mumbled. It's worth watching a fella like you. And not too long after, a voice rang out, letting us know that the 11th floor had been cleared. Large letters popped up in the sky. Subjugation contribution rank. Rank 1. Kim Gongja. Rank 2. Witch. Rank 3. Heretic questioner. Rank 4. Venomous snake. Rank 5. Crusader. Rank 6. Count. Rank 7. Sword Saint. As much as the world had changed, the ranking had slightly changed as well. The Sword Saint slid down to rank 7. And the witch, who was rank 6, was at rank 2. The top subjugators are entering the 12th floor. The remaining subjugators cannot enter the 12th floor until the top subjugators have received their rewards. Letting everyone know again. And it was finally heard. The voice that opened the 12th floor. We might be able to clear the 20th quickly at this rate. The witch spoke with a slightly red face. I thought at least 5,000 would be sacrificed, but the first step is good. Very. No. Left like this, a horrible sacrifice would be taken from us on the 12th floor. And the person necessary to communicate with the outside, the Sangrian master, would be lost. The moment that connection was cut off, the economy of the tower would break apart. Everyone would be confused. The sacrifices could exceed 5,000, and even get to 500,000. So. I'm gonna carry it. A blinding light surrounded us. When I opened my eyes again, I was there. The reception room of the Empire. The marble floor was still white, not dirted by blood like last time. Oh. The hunters were summoned one by one. The looks on their faces were different. There were some hunters who smiled like they expected me to be here, and others looked angry that I was first again. Like in the last regression. Kim Gongja Hunter. You were amazing. Heretic questioner coming up to compliment was also the same. Working together with the Black Dragon Master. Hot. Was knowing the location of the boss monster a reward of the last stage? It seems like. Just a moment. Unlike the last regression, the heretic questioner couldn't continue to compliment me. I lifted my hand to stop him. He tilted his head. Sorry? I have something to say to everyone first. The hunters all looked at me. The witch still looked flushed. The venomous snake had a frowning face. The crusader looked indifferent, and the count was fanning herself. In the midst of receiving all the hunters' gazes. What about the sword saint? I checked the old man's movements first. He was standing by himself in the corner of the reception room. Even though our eyes met, he didn't react. He just quietly looked at me with his arms crossed. It worked. It was completely different from how he immediately lifted his sword to look at me. It finally worked. The frustrating fight at the beginning of the 12th floor was gone now. I made it disappear. I was successful in stopping the hostile relationship for a moment. I could feel my heart beating as I spoke. Yesterday. I told you something. Yesterday? The favor. I answered the heretic questioner's question. I asked for you to do me a favor sometime. Yes. Of course I remember. It would be nice if you could do that favor for me right now. I slowly looked at the hunters. The guild masters were all listening closely at the word favor. 5 days from now. Please stay here for 5 days without doing anything. Then. I took a deep breath. And I opened my mouth. I'll clear up to the 20th floor in 5 days. In the last regression. It was when the tutorial of the tower was finished. Warriors. Those climbing the tower. The hunters had counted down with all their might in the square. And the goddess had descended in that square. The goddess spoke seriously like she was an apostle praying. From the 11th floor to the 20th floor. You will be met with a test. A test of faith. The hunters didn't listen to the goddess's voice. A new era. A new stage. They were excited because a new stage was opened, and immediately left for the 11th floor. There was even a hunter who had tested if the goddess could be cut with a sword. You will find the answer. However, the answer you find will reveal who you are. I didn't do that. I stayed until the end. And so that's how you will know yourself. Thinking back now, we had already received a sign of what would happen starting from the 12th floor. Climbers of the tower. The question wasn't which award we would choose, or who we would suspect. The tower just let us know that our answer would be of importance. May luck be with you. The goddess was quietly praying. At this moment, I arrived on the 12th floor again. I lifted my head, thinking of the scene in the square back then. And I spoke. I'll clear up to the 20th floor in 5 days. Of the answer that I had chosen. 2. It was dead silent. The first person to speak was the Black Dragon Master. Wait. 5 days. She looked confused. Did I hear something wrong? I think you just said that you would clear up to the 20th floor in 5 days. If that was supposed to be a joke, that wasn't funny, so take it back. No, you heard right. And it's not a joke. The witch shut her mouth. The silence in the reception room turned to low murmuring. The faces of the hunters changed. Some looked like they were flabbergasted, some looked like they couldn't believe it, and others looked like they didn't know how to react. This kind of reaction is obvious. I calmly took in all their gazes. Because it was an announcement that didn't make sense even if you thought about it logically. That's impossible. Kim Gongja. A moment later, the witch spoke. You know. It took us years to clear just until the 10th floor. Of course, since we cleared the 11th floor in less than an hour, you might be flowing with confidence, but it's too much. You're overconfident. Aren't you a bit too excited? Black Dragon Master. I bowed my head. It's my request. I cleared the 10th floor. I didn't do it for you. I cleared it because I wanted to succeed. However, I still shared the rewards of the 10th floor with everyone. Information that this would be a team battle, and the location of the boss monster on the mini-map. I shared information, and the damage to the guilds was lessened. Everyone benefited, not just me. So I could speak with confidence. I have the qualification to ask this of everyone. I'm not telling you to wait until I clear the 20th floor. 5 days. Whether I succeed or not, please just wait 5 days. This is my last request. Silence swirled around the reception room. It wasn't a silence that was disadvantageous to me. Maybe that was the reason why. Welcome, Hunter Kim Gongja. You have subjugated the 11th floor as rank 1. The 11th floor clear is being given. The notifications popped up more quickly than last time. Last time, only after the fight with Sword Saint was finished was the reward given. It had taken a long time. On the other hand, this time was different. As soon as I spoke, information about the reward flew up. Hello. Like it was frantically trying to get my attention. The goddess of protection is suggesting a reward to you. The Devil King of Fall Rain is suggesting a reward to you. The sounds of the notifications rang consecutively. I didn't select either reward. I just grinned inwardly. Are you feeling anxious because we didn't fight, Devil King? Soon, the rewards of the goddess and the Devil King slid up. Glance. I gave it a single look. I didn't show any interest or amusement. The Devil King of Raw Rain advises you to choose a reward. A voice rang in my head. The Devil King hints that you can even give up a reward. Again and again. My attitude didn't change. I don't care what you say. I was firm. I didn't look at the roles of the goddess's reward, or at the conditions of the Devil King's reward. I ignored them. The Devil King of Fall Rain is bewildered. The Devil King of Fall Rain cannot understand your intentions. That's fine. Don't rush me. Since while you're confused I'll go find you. The silence continued in the reception room. The heretic questioner looked around and laughed with an ha. He seemed to have decided to speak first. It's simple. Kim Gongja has shared information about the 11th floor with us. In return, he asked us to do a favor for him, and we promised to do it as long as it's not impossible. The heretic questioner beamed. All of us waiting here without doing anything. It's not a simple favor thinking of what the media will say, but it's not impossible. So I agree. It's not impossible, but a promise is a promise, Black Dragon Master. The witch's face turned dark. She opened and closed her mouth, then sighed. Fine. A promise is a promise. She was saying she agreed. The other hunters all agreed as well. The witch and the heretic questioner. The influential hunter and the most psychotic hunter had agreed. Even the hunters who weren't guild masters ended up agreeing and promised 5 days of silence. I never agreed to that kind of promise. Except for the boomer who was ranked the highest. There's only one promise that I made with this person. That I'll watch this youngster for 5 days. Other than that, I don't have to do anything. If you're leaving to clear the 20th floor, I'll just follow you like our promise. I nodded. Yes, that's fine. From now on, I was going to go up against the Devil King alone. I was confident, but if the Sword Saint was behind me, it would be like I had an army of thousands. I had no reason to stop him from following me. I looked around the reception room. Thank you for listening to my request, everyone. I slowly turned to move. See you in 5 days. Creak. I opened the large door of the reception room and left. There was a large palace beyond the door. Past the palace, there were high walls, and beyond the walls, there was the city of the Egypt Empire. It was the same as last time. But it was different. The NPCs are all standing still? Beihurayong and I looked here and there while walking together. Beihurayong was right. The knights guarding the palace, and the NPCs selling fruit in the market. All the NPCs in the city were still. It's because the quest hasn't begun yet. Time was paused. I walked down the paused street. Far behind, Sword Saint was coming too. Quest? Yes. No one has chosen their role yet. In the Empire right now, there was no Chancellor or Grand Master of Knights. Even though they were important figures that were needed. This was the quest of the 12th to the 20th floor. As soon as we entered the 11th floor, the quest was given. That's probably the right order. But didn't we already arrive here some time ago? Why would it take so long for the quest to be given? The quest opened after the roles were chosen. That meant, if roles are chosen, the quest doesn't begin either. The Devil King's attack didn't begin, and the Empire soldiers don't fight against it. That was why the NPCs were still. And they would continue to be like that. In this world, we don't choose a role. It was a kind of trigger. When the highest subjugators chose a role, the quest would begin. But you know that, Sword Emperor. I crossed the streets. Because there were passers-by, I twisted around them to move by them. It was like walking through a maze. Even while walking through the maze made of people, notifications continued to ring in my head. The Devil King of Raw Rain advises you to choose a reward. I ignored it. The Devil King of Fall Rain advises you to give it up if you aren't going to choose a reward. In that case, the ability to choose a reward moves on to the next subjugator. I ignored it and continued to walk. When I left the city, there was a large field in front of me. What happens if the Devil King dies in this state? What? I could see it. A sparkling red that was clear on the half-transparent map. There was only one red dot at this point when no monsters were summoned. I said, what do you think will happen if the boss monster dies before the quest starts? The Devil King. Simple. No one will be able to choose the reward of the Devil King. Of course, there won't be any betrayer. He's just out before he can try anything. I crossed the field. I headed straight for the red dot. Not too long after, the red dot was right in front of me. If I went just a bit further, it would be where the boss monster was marked. The Devil King of Fall Rain is furious at you. Did he understand what I was trying to do now? Another voice that was slightly different rang inside my head. The Devil King of Fall Rain is manifesting. The sky in front of me swirled with black. Like a black hole, a pitch black hole was opened, and something like wastewater flowed out. One drop. A stream. A clump. It gathered to make a figure, and a voice leaked out from the figure. You dare. The Devil King was red with rage. Take the proper steps, warrior of the goddess. It's rude coming here without choosing anything. Only those who receive the qualification of the Empire can take my sword. What kind of bullshit is that? I gripped my sword even tighter. I picked the right thing. What? Look. This is the best choice. In this time when the quest didn't begin yet. And the city wasn't attacked by the Devil King yet. So, it was a world where no one had died. Devil King. I'll kill you before the quest begins. Then not a single hunter will die, and nor will anyone from the Empire. There won't even be a betrayer either. Did you understand? It's a happy ending without any sacrifices. I smirked. I never really liked bad endings. Is it because of my personality? I like happy endings more. You were continuing to fuck with us, and so we couldn't get a happy ending, so please die. You dare. The figure of the Devil King squirmed. You dare to try to stop me by yourself? Without even the help of the Empire? Yup. I pulled out my sword. I precisely aimed the blade at the black figure. Help, my ass. In the middle of the paused field. I became a part of my sword and targeted my enemy. I opened my mouth. A warrior is supposed to fight alone. The 5 days of forever began. The day it rained, it opened its eyes. It didn't have a name. It didn't have a figure. It could have been called a shadow. The day it was raining, it could have been called a shadow, and when it opened its eyes, it saw the first form of life. Ribbet. It thought of what it was. There were a lot of things it didn't know. Just sounds, the sound of rain. He continued to hear the sounds of frogs rib biting. There was a delicious scent from the rain. Like a snake, although it didn't know what a snake was, it slithered towards the living thing in front of it. The living thing didn't know that something was approaching it. There was a delicious scent from the living thing as well. It was over in an instant. The adorably rib-biting thing was swallowed in the blink of an eye. Ribbet. The thing didn't have any teeth, so the living thing's body wasn't shredded apart. It just melted. It fell in the thing's stomach and slowly melted. The rain poured. When the life in his stomach was almost gone, it realized it had front legs. It also had back legs. Its legs stepped on the ground, but it wasn't able to step on the sky. Rain connected the sky and the ground. The world became a bit brighter. Feeling the touch of the rain through its skin. The feeling of life. Ribbet. It opened its mouth to let out sounds of joy. Ribbet. The rain poured. It wanted to live a bit more. 4. At first, it was an attack. My eyes couldn't even follow the attack, even though I drank the elixir. I extended the second, but the Devil King's attack was faster than my second. You have died. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. A day. I drew a 1 on my hand with a permanent black marker. So I wouldn't forget about this later in the future. It was like a number that inmates in jail used to check off how much time had passed since they were in there. Zombie. Yes. The sword technique of the guy isn't that amazing in itself. This was like a jail. A jail of time. It's more like he's just ridiculously strong. That itself is pretty scary, since he can just break apart whatever it has with his strength. But if I know the direction of the attack, I can avoid it. Right. What would have happened if the quest continued like usual at this time? How many warriors would have died in this war? Every time a warrior died, they would die with at least 20 years more left to live their life. People who could live 20 more years would die futilely. If 10 died, that was 200 years. If 100 people died, that was 2,000 years. Thinking of that time, I didn't choose any role. I just stood in front of the Devil King with my sword. Then, this body. You have died. You have regressed to 24 hours ago. Would have to get ready to fight forever. But the problem is that even if you know, it'll be hard for you to avoid it. You weak ass. You zombie-like corpse bastard.
Ugh.
Quiet please. Keek keek. You have died. You have regressed to 24 hours ago. When I returned to a day ago, the day repeated. It didn't just repeat, but the fight of the past repeated. I reviewed it. You're still not used to using aura. That's a big problem. You can just focus aura on your feet and that would be enough. If I move while I'm focusing on my feet, my stance becomes messy. So you have to make the aura flow up to your thighs and shoulders. With balance. Easy for you to say. You have died. You have regressed to 24 hours ago. You can just die if you can't do it. Fuck. A day. Another day passed. You dare. How many times had I heard the Devil King's furious voice by now? Take the right steps, warrior of the goddess. Coming here without choosing anything is rude. Only those who. All right. One shot. What? I was getting sick of talking to him now, so I just drank the elixir. In a period where time had slowed down, I ran at the Devil King. Regretfully, my attack was blocked by the Devil King. You. The warrior cuts the Devil King. You have died. The Devil King has cut the warrior. You have died. What else do you need to say? Come. Devil King. You have died. I am the sword of the Empire. Fine. You have died. Then prove it in front of me. You have died. Prove it to me. Sure. You have died. I'll show you. You have regressed to 24 hours ago. The world stopped, and the only thing providing me with an indication of time in this past time period was my sword. My sword was the only moving object. For a time to flow in this world, a second of my sword had to flow. It was only a second from my sword, but this world breathed again with a second. I could only live for a second even though I wanted to live forever. I lived my life. Good job, Kim Gongja. A day. Gosh. It hasn't even been an hour and it looks like you'll clear the stage. Another day. Less than 40 hunters probably died. And, from some time ago. It might have been less than that. It can't get any better than this. The witch's words started to change little by little. The 11th floor stage. It was the quest where I teleported to the boss monster grabbing the hand of the Black Dragon Master. It was something I had to do to repeat my day. Living day by day, the 11th floor's circumstances started to change little by little. Slowly. Good job, Kim Gongja. Goodness. We're about to clear the stage in less than 50 seconds. Less than 30 hunters probably died. But surely. Less than 40 minutes. Less than 20 hunters have probably died. A little bit faster. more efficiently. Every time a day repeated, the witch's face became a bit more excited. Her voice was brighter. She looked happier when she said only 20 people died than the time she was saying 50 people died.
Ah.
I died day by day. Unbelievable. Good job, Kim Gongja. Like you said, we confronted the golem after healing the knight called Joshua, but wow, less than 10 people probably died. To think this was possible. In this battlefield, It was. I lived a day. You dare. One day, the Devil King asked. Why are you doing that? What? I'm asking why you're grinning. I smiled. Because I'm happy. My heart was beating fast. I'm laughing because I'm happy. The Devil King lifted his sword. You're happy even though you're going to die? You won't understand. You can't. How arrogant, warrior of the goddess. I'm just simple. I swung my sword. Poor thing. The sword cut me. You have died. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. But I didn't give up. There wasn't a reason to. My sword was faster than yesterday. Tomorrow, it would be even faster. Because I was living. Because I was alive. The day came to me without a sound. The witch grabbed my hand. She didn't know, but there were 100 black marks on my palm. They were like wrinkles to me. Wrinkles that told me how much time had flowed. Just now. The witch's voice trembled. I just checked. Kim Gongja. Not one. The witch's hand was trembling in mine. Not one died. Her trembling turned into crying. Even the 10,000 temple was checked and there's none. There were some stupid fools who were hit with arrows, but. No one died. Black Dragon. A guild that had been at the top ever since the beginning of the tower. Black Dragon was ruled by the rank 2 hunter. The Black Witch challenged the 10th floor tens of times. Every time she did, she failed. She failed, but she always brought back the hunters safely. She was such a person. Thank you. That kind of person leaned her head on me. Really, thank you. The witch was crying. She was also laughing. I wanted to live a bit more. And so. Time flowed. It flowed in my heart. You dare. The moment my heart thumped, I swung my sword. You dare to stop me yourself. Without any help from the Empire. Yes. It was a large field. In the world where time was stopped. I pointed my sword at my enemy with a thumping heart. I said a warrior fights alone. You fool. The Devil King roared in anger. It didn't have a name. It didn't have a form. It could have been called a shadow. The shadow lifted a red sword as vibrant as blood. The air shook unstably and I was in the range of the sword. It was blood. You. The next attack. And the one after that. My shadow is the evil of all you humans. That was when it changed. The Devil King swung his red sword. At the fourth attack, the sound of a mirror breaking could also be heard. The light on the sword glinted. Sorry, King Gongja. Someone lightly landed next to me. The black hair waved in the wind. I wanted to stay in the reception like you said. But I couldn't take it anymore. The master of Black Dragon. The witch lifted a corner of her mouth. I felt like I was going to die if I stayed in there any longer. So I came here wondering what you were saying, Humph. You were playing fun games all by yourself? They were warrior games. Was it fun? I smiled. Fucking great. I guess. It's a beast that seems worth hunting. 5 mirrors came flying. I can't let you have all the fun to yourself. Let me join. Wow. I had it all. You're stealing it now? You didn't know? Taking someone else's prey is the tastiest. I agree with that. You. The Devil King growled. The being who couldn't be laughing right now was probably the Devil King. Sorry. Hey, Dash. I lifted my sword. I wanted to take care of you myself. But I think it's right for warriors to get the Devil King together. It's to brag about history and tradition, right? How rude you are. The wastewater on the Devil King's body boiled. I won't use this sword against you anymore. Wastewater fell to the ground. Like the source was limitless, the wastewater kept on pouring onto the ground, and turned the field black. It was like a large shadow had covered the earth. Monsters, respond to my voice. BRRR, boil. The shadow boiled and coughed up bubbles. Kirk. Keek, kee. In each of the bubbles' shadows were monsters. Black water turned into forms. Some bubbles became goblins, and some became orcs. An orc stirred his head. When the bubbles flowed, thousands of monsters were surrounding us. Quoo-woo. The beasts cried out fiercely. This. The witch frowned after looking around her. This isn't something we can do ourselves. Sword Saint. What are you doing there staring blankly? Not even helping us. I wanted to watch a bit more. It hasn't even been 30 seconds since that youngster began fighting. Who knew that wastewater would call for monsters? Sword Saint, who had been watching me for about 30 seconds, spoke. That's correct. I was wondering whether I should ask for help after a minute. I smiled, looking at his face that had been watching me for over 30 weeks. Men, anyway. Kim Gongja, hold my hand. We have to get out of here. Sword Saint. Come here too. Can't you see this? The witch shouted and held out her hand to me. No. It's okay. But I didn't grab her hand. The witch frowned, looking at me strangely. Instead of answering her, I quietly murmured. 100 ghosts summon. Pause. The Devil King was flustered for a moment. You. What did you just? My voice was faster than the Devil King's. Your skill is being activated. It was a voice that proved my qualification. Soon, the entire field was flipped. It became bigger. A frog, yes. It knew that what it ate was a frog now. It knew a lot more than it used to. It knew about frogs, snakes, and eagles. The happiness of touching rain when it was a frog. The happiness when it slithered on the ground as a snake. The happiness of leaving its body to the sky when it was an eagle. It knew about the happiness of the sky and the ground. KRRRNG. And it became a lion and realized the happiness of killing. The meat of a deer was delicious. Its scent was pleasant. The moment it dug its teeth into the deer's neck, it could happily die like this. If it hadn't, hick, met some noisy living being. Kaya. The living thing ran away, looking behind its shoulder. Instinctively, it chased after the living thing. Save me. Dad. Dad. Save me. The living being was loud and slow. It even landed itself into the ground. What was it doing? It didn't know about the concept of falling. He wouldn't. since it had flown in the sky and slithered on the ground. It was the first time it met a stupid being that fell on its own feet. I don't want to die. Dad. Help. Before the noisy being became even louder, it dug its teeth in. Blood poured in between its teeth. When its mouth was filled with blood, it paused for a moment. It was shocked. What a delicious scent! What was this scent? It became addicted and drunk on the blood. It dug its teeth into the living thing and tried to swallow everything up. Blood, skin, bone. Even the intestines. Everything was pleasant. The deeper its teeth dug in, its back feet became shorter, and its front became longer. Its back feet were legs, and its front feet became arms. The mane of the lion turned into hair. It all happened in an instant. It calmly ate the remnants of the living thing. When it ate even the last pieces, the memories of the living being flowed in. Human. That was what the living thing said. The human was born in a rural village. It grew while receiving the love of its family. It didn't lack any love. But it still lacked something. The human's health was strained. Disease. There wasn't a way to fix the child's illness in this rural village. Even if there was, they didn't have money. Humans died one by one in its family. And this young human refused to die lying in bed. I want to walk until I can't anymore. I want to breathe the outside air even if it's just a little bit. It was a mistake. The human had come too far. It had tested how far it could travel before it died. And it had been greeted with death. In its stomach. Child. Estelle. No. You were here. It stopped being itself. I said not to leave by yourself. It's dangerous near the forest. You don't know when there might be a beast. Don't leave by your, but why are your clothes like that? The little girl opened her mouth. Dad. She smiled. I think I'm healthy now. Estelle. That was the first name the Devil King had. A voice rang in my head. Your skill is being activated. The field began to be flipped. The beginning of change was under my feet. Shadows. Shadows started to expand under me. My shadow covered the blackened field. Goo. Something soared out from the shadow. Goo. It was a bone. A pure white bone from a person came stretching out from the shadow. It looked like a demon trying to escape from prison. Sword Emperor. Looking at the shadow around me, I spoke inwardly. You wanted to know why I chose the 100 Ghost Summon, right? Oh.
Yeah.
I did. At first, I wanted another skill too. It was one that strengthened aura. The red trajectory of the Devil King was truly fearsome. How cool would it be if I could do that someday? But after thinking about it some more, I changed my mind. Skill card open. 100 Ghost Summon. Rank, SS. Effects, what you killed will be summoned as monsters. The dead cannot use their abilities from when they were living. They can't remember it either. They'll be summoned as goblins, orcs, zombies, skeletons, etc. However, you can only summon them once a week. It was a shining gold card. Summoning those I killed myself into monsters. Looking at the card, I muttered to myself. There's a problem though. How many people do you think I killed? Bei Hurayong furrowed his eyebrows. That flame plague and you. Isn't it 2 in total?
Yeah.
It would seem that way. I laughed. But why do you think the detective's insight that the Sword Saint has says my kill count is 4,000? What? It's honestly pretty bad. And strange. I know suicide was a daily lifestyle for me, but did I kill someone random? Honestly, it was just me. But why is the kill count over 4,000? It should logically be 2. So, this is what that means. I looked in front of me. There's a certain way death is counted in this tower. At the Field of Shadows. Even if the same person is killed twice, it'll be considered 2 and not 1. The monsters that were coming from my shadow. I saw a bunch of skeletons trying to escape from my prison. Okay. So let me ask you again. It was an army. A bunch of monsters covered the field. How many deaths do you think I reached? Suicide for 4,097 times. The first hunting of.
Yo. So. Ha!
And having to kill him again because I was killed by Sword Saint first. So that meant it was 4,099 deaths. Traces of my death were clear on the large field. Dang. I nodded my head, looking satisfactorily at the island of death that I made. Wow, I died a lot. It was then. Goo goo. The bone army cried out. Ka-aya. The skeletons bared their teeth. They all looked the same. Their bodies were similar to mine, and their heights were similar to me as well. Wasn't it obvious? It was because they were monsters that proved my death. Even the weapon is the same. A dagger. All the skeletons were holding the same dagger. It was the weapon from when I took my own life, and when I killed.
Yo. So. Ha!
No way. But I was the only person calmly watching the weapons of the skeletons. The witch and Sword Saint were both looking around with shocked expressions. What's this? Kim Gongja. Is this your skill? Yes. You're kidding me. The witch was taken aback. Goodness. A skill that summons thousands of monsters. I've never heard of it. So this is how you cleared the 10th floor by yourself? The witch seemed to have misunderstood how I subjugated the 10th floor. Because I could correct her, she continued to be amazed. No, that's not it, but... Whatever. Well, I guess. Yes. I knew it. Let's talk about it later. There was no need to fix that misunderstanding now. Talking in front of the Devil King should be done in moderation. How do you have the same skill as me? The Devil King was also surprised. He was frozen in place. He didn't have any expression, but from his voice, I could feel how surprised he was. It was a shame. If I could see his face, I would have been able to see him frown. Are you curious? I folded my thoughts and smirked. But what should we do? I don't want to tell you. You can continue being curious. Or should I tell you about the condition of your life? How's that? I can't forgive you. This can't be allowed. The Devil King cried out like an injured lion. Just how long are you going to tease me? Goddess. My hate. My regret. You promised you would accept it all. How could? Sword Saint Nim. I didn't listen to what the Devil King was saying. He had his business, and I had my role. The Devil King was my enemy. If the enemy was preoccupied, it was an opportunity for me. Please fight with the skeletons. If you assist, we won't fall behind. The Sword Saint replied in an annoyed tone. Fine. Fighting alongside monsters is creepy, but it's better than helping you. Thank you. And Black Dragon Master, please help me. We can defeat the martial king ourselves. I know. Just don't pull me back. The sword saint swung his sword and the witch exploded her aura. The two seemed to have decided to follow my orders until the Devil King was defeated. I nodded my head and shouted towards my deaths. 100 ghosts. The bones growled. Show them what you're best at. I commanded. Kill, and be killed. The army obeyed my orders. Goo. The skeletons ran onto the battlefield. They were light because they only had bones. It landed on top of the orc and cut the orc's head with the dagger. The skeleton crazily swung the dagger around. On the blade, the orc's eyes, mouth, and neck were ripped. The orc screamed and collapsed to the floor. Because of the impact, the skeleton's left arm was broken, but it didn't stop. It just headed straight for the next prey. Keek! From somewhere else, a goblin screamed in pain. There was a skeleton that was so damaged that only its skull was left. It had used its teeth to rip off the goblin's arm. Goo! Kee! Around the goblin, there were other skeletons. They were all skeletons that were hurt somewhere. A broken arm. A disappeared leg. A lost head. But they all had daggers. Keek! The goblin squirmed, but it was useless. The skeletons gathered around the goblin and brought the dagger down. Blood soared up. Wow, shit. Beihurayon clicked his tongue. Look at how much tenacity they have. I wonder who they're like. A monster army that's not scared of death. What the heck? That's super scary. A massacre occurred all over the field. The Devil King trembled with anger. You dare! The Devil King's shadow was continuing to produce wastewater. If the wastewater was blood, I would have thought it was the Devil King's blood. The Devil King was in despair. You don't have the qualification. His despair rang into the sky. Someone from another world. He hit the ground. Someone who doesn't have any life, evil intent, or hate towards this world. How dare you stop me? It echoed on the sky and the ground. What does it matter where I'm from? I spoke in front of the echoes. I'm here right now. But if you still say that I'm not qualified. The echoes hadn't even settled down yet. I heard a voice in my head. The tower is bestowing you a nickname. As if someone who had been watching me for a long time was blessing me. Like they were congratulating me after being freed from the prison of time. Your nickname is Death King. The voice echoed. Respects to the king who harvests death. Yes. Someone was remembering me. Even though I died again and again. Someone knew about the reason why I was here. That was enough. Don't interfere. I lifted my sword and spoke. The tower acknowledges my qualification. Death King. That was my second name. It didn't get older. It was always young. Estelle. It became beautiful by the day, and the ends of its fingers always smelled like apples. On its feet, there was a grape scent. People were always enchanted by its scent every time it walked by them. Its hair was a gold color, and when it fluttered in the wind, the villagers could feel autumn. Estelle, Saintess of the Frontier. From some time, people began to say this. Miss Saintess. A young girl came holding a baby. She said that she had come from far away after hearing rumors. Please. It's a sick child. Please bless this poor thing. Do you know the rules? Yes, yes. I do. Estelle nodded her head. Leave the child here. You can come tomorrow at dawn. The young girl bowed her head and left. There was a small child where the mom left, wrapped in an old but soft blanket. The young girl had gathered the softest things she had to cover the baby. An old blanket, stained with milk. Estelle momentarily dug her nose inside it. How pleasant. Humans would do anything for love. Q. The baby reached out its hand to touch Estelle's hair. Estelle smiled. Life was beautiful even though it was wrapped up in rags. Estelle considered this to be happiness. It's okay. Estelle's shadow squirmed. You won't be hurt anymore. Kia. The shadow opened its mouth. Poor thing. Estelle quietly swallowed the newborn baby. The death of the child was calm. It didn't even resist. It just helplessly settled down. When the newborn baby's skin and bone melted, its memories entered Estelle. They were memories from the baby's skin and bone. The pain of being born, feeling of its finger, the smile of its mom.
Yeah.
Short memories from a short life. After examining its blink of a life, Estelle waved towards her shadow. The shadow boiled. Let it live a little longer. At that moment, the shadow shrunk to a baby's form. The black shadow turned into a skin color. It squirmed around, smiling like an innocent beast. Kia. Estelle smiled. Poor thing. As soon as it dawned, the mother came. Had she spent the night waiting? She looked pitiful. Estelle, who had been waiting in the doorframe, handed the baby in the blanket to its mother. It'll be healthy now. Ah. It won't even catch minor illnesses. Please continue to love it as you did so far. The mother's face crumpled. Thank you. Rumors started to spread across the continent. Miss Saintess. The small rumors scratched at the small land. Thank you, Miss Saintess. The small rural countries were upheaved first. Estelle. After that, it was the larger countries. Saintess Estelle. The continent was large. There were plenty of unhappy humans everywhere. People who were rotting from diseases, people who were crippled from birth, people who couldn't see. The Saintess of Savior. They all gathered towards Estelle. Every time they did, Estelle's shadow became larger. Our Savior. As Estelle's shadow became darker, the power of humans lessened. A king couldn't rule a village that they had thrown away. The hope for all the ill. Estelle. The kings realized that this was the name of the new disease. And they knew what they had to do to make the disease disappear. Burn her. Fire. Burn the nest of the witch. Estelle screamed. The fire was burning a person. No. That wasn't it. Don't show mercy. They're all cursed monsters. Don't miss a single one. Humans were burning humans. Things that don't see humans as humans. It groaned. It sounded like a scream. The groans combined to become a shadow, and the screams became a sword. Be swallowed by your evil. The Devil King swung his sword. The sword was trembling like it was groaning. Kim Gongja. The witch shouted. I'm okay. I was confronting the Devil King. Whoosh. It seemed like the Devil King's sword would burst with a red light any moment. Right? I focused my aura on my feet. Or is it left? It was a 50-50 chance. The Devil King's sword screamed. A sword that was more red than blood and hotter than fire approached me. You have died. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. It's the left. I would die. When I died, I would return to 24 hours ago. You have 6 days, 23 hours, 53 minutes, and 27 seconds left to use 100 Ghosts Summon. Returner's Clockwork Watch EX said that the user's memory and skills were kept the same. You have died. You have 5 days, 23 hours, 51 minutes, and 42 seconds left to use 100 Ghosts Summon. The Sword Emperor Bei Hurayong was able to share my memories because my skills were maintained even when I died. My powers, my memories, everything. Of course, the cooltime was included in this. You have died. A day passed. You have 4 days, 23 hours, 49 minutes, and 33 seconds left to use 100 Ghost Summons. I subjugated the 11th floor. No one died. I climbed to the 12th floor to fight with the Devil King. The Witch of Black Dragon helped me. The angry Devil King summoned his 100 ghosts. I ran towards the Devil King and died. You have died. You have 3 days, 23 Horus, 47 minutes, and 15 seconds until you can use the 100 Ghost Summons. I died. You have died. You have 2 days, 23 hours, 45 minutes, and 28 seconds. I died. You have died. You have 1 day, 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 13 seconds. A day passed. You have died. You have 23 hours, 41 minutes, and 53 seconds. And that day came again. You can use 100 Ghost Summons again. It was time to repeat. We could fight a final battle of sorts. Kim Gongja. The witch shouted. I nodded my head. I'm okay. In this life, I ran to the right without even looking at the redness. The red light cut into empty air. Tens of skeletons were swept away. But there were 10 times that amount of goblins and orcs that burned up. You. The Devil King's voice trembled with fury. How? Do you have the eyes of prophecy? It's similar. Stubborn. Bei Hurayong clicked his tongue. What a stubborn bastard. Bei Hurayong continued to tell me where to swing my sword and how to move my feet. But this is so cool. Hey, zombie. See if you can do a repeat summons next time. Stay inside somewhere for a week and summon monsters again. I frowned. Please. Focus. I think it'll cancel the previous summons and use the current one instead, you never know. 4,000 can become 8,000 and 8,000 can become 80,000. Kia. Then you'll be upgraded from a zombie to a zombie king. Zombie King Kim Gongja. How cool is that? Geez, stop talking. I can't focus because you have died. You have regressed to 24 hours ago. Fucking. Why do you die so much? That's why you're such a pathetic zombie. I kicked it because of you. I have to repeat another week now. That's because you're a weak ass. It's not my fault. Anyways, it's not. Bei Hurayong snickered. I swear I'll kill you someday. Oh ho. I'm already dead though. How are you gonna kill a ghost? Is our zombie getting angry? You foo. Use that anger to get the Devil King. I cleared through the 20th floor even though I didn't have a lit cheat skill. Oh ho, how pathetic, Kim Zombie. Shit. That was what we said, but we continued to fight the Devil King. The skeletons continued to stop the Devil King's forces. The Sword Saint blocked the monsters coming to us. I died continuously throughout the week and predicted the Devil King's attack, and the witch continued to play the Devil King using my prophecies. Black Dragon Master. It's right next. Got it. The witch spread black aura. The mirrors reflected it. Every time it was reflected on the mirror, the aura was amplified by 2 times. In an instant, the tens of black attacks cut the Devil King's waist. Kia! The Devil King's scream ripped through the sky in the paused world. Mrs., nice shot. I laughed. Laughing, I swung my sword. Who are you calling Mrs.? I'm not married yet. What were you doing to not get married at that age? I'm still young.
Nah.
You probably became younger with elixirs. I know it all. You see me after we get the Devil King. We crossed over different scenes. Sometimes, the witch was swept by the red light. Even the sword saint. 1 second. Another second. We gave our lives for the fight. Even a second being off guard was dangerous. You have died. But it didn't matter. You are regressing to 24 hours ago. My lethal move was stronger than the Devil King's lethal move. You. 12 times. You dare to, my hate. The witch's aura pierced the Devil King's body 12 times. Then, the Devil King's movements became slow. Black wastewater boiled where he was attacked. Huh? Was it just me? For a moment, before the wastewater boiled, I thought I saw the color of skin. It really was just a moment. When I turned my head to check again, the Devil King's body was already covered in wastewater. Cook! The Devil King took back his sword. Even though he didn't have a face, we could feel he was glaring at us. The Devil King of Fall Rain decides to retreat. What? The Devil King of Fall Rain is falling back to the 13th floor. That was ridiculous. Anger completely filled me up to my head. Wait. What kind of boss runs away when it's almost caught? Don't think that. I'm coming back again. Look at this bastard. I swung my sword. But the Devil King's body crumpled before that. Like there was a pipe somewhere that we couldn't see, the black wastewater was pulled in. Hey! You chocolate milkshake-like bastard. It wasn't just the Devil King. The monsters born from the shadow fell, vomiting bubbles. It was like the sound of water going down the toilet. The monsters disappeared under the ground. Wow. The witch, sword saint, thousands of skeletons, and I were left in the middle of the field. This is... It was when I was despairing because all my deaths were for nothing. The tower has acknowledged your choice. I could hear a voice in my head. Hidden quest made. The 12th floor quest is being revised. Huh? Consecutively, at that. The 13th floor quest is being revised. The 14th floor quest is being revised. The 15th floor quest is being revised. The 16th floor quest is being revised. The 17th floor quest is being revised. The 18th floor quest is being revised. The 19th floor quest is being revised. I was speechless at this situation that I never experienced before. Could quests be revised? While I was gaping, letters popped up in front of me. Letters for me. Warrior of the paused world. Difficulty, unknown. Task goal, you have chosen. You won't allow a single victim. Righteousness is not expecting something from those you saved. Dedication is not expecting acknowledgement from those you saved. Those who dedicate themselves to righteousness are called warriors. Warrior. The people of the empire won't know your righteousness. They won't realize your dedication. But righteousness is still righteousness, and dedication is still dedication. In the paused world, will you still choose to be a warrior? The Devil King has run away with injuries. He probably hasn't gone far. If you want, you can chase after the Devil King however much you want. Only your choice is left. It was a quest just for me. A voice rang. Will you accept the quest? My heart thumped. It was a question I didn't have to hesitate before deciding the answer. Yes. The voice responded to me. The hidden quest is activating. Quest name, Warrior of the Paused World. May luck be with you. White light wrapped around me.